Think International, Sean here, thinking now for tomorrow with Grant Fishbook, lead pastor of Christ the King Church in Bellingham, Washington. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Sunny day in the Northwest. Rare, but it's happening. So what do you think?
I've got my vitamin D for the entire year in less than 12 hours, so I'm thankful for that.
Lovely. Do you take vitamin D?
I take vitamin D in soft gel form, but that's a long story.
Yeah. It's necessary for survival in the Northwest.
That's true.
So Christ the King, awesome stuff's happening. And I've heard you have churches all over the Northwest, really all over the world. And in some cases, the church size is 10% of the city, even up to as high as 25%. Man, what's some of the stuff in your guys' DNA speak to that, Christ the King?
I think probably the greatest thing is we try to tell people Christ the King Church is a place where it's okay to not be okay. In fact, we are openly suspicious and somewhat hostile to people who appear to have it all together. So we speak very much to the brokenness in people's lives, which allows anybody to walk in the door and really feel like they can be part of our family instantly. They don't need to jump through a set of hoops or comply to a group of behaviors. And so we invite people to actually belong to our family, and then we introduce our belief system. And then as they believe, we're going to trust God to look after the behavioral stuff on the other end of those relationships.
I love it. I love it. What about the then maybe structural side? Has that helped as far as being able to expand and grow and see things implemented?
We use different words. One of the words we use is viral, and so we want it almost like a bad virus to be spreading out. We're highly relationally driven, not really structure driven, and so it's all about relationships that we can connect with people.
Yeah.
And so we might know people inside of the network by name. We're obviously associated by a common mission, vision, and values. But ultimately, it really comes down to working together in a family organizational type setting where we assume we can trust each other and we'll deal with the mess that comes out of that instead of trying to regiment it and make it all structural.
Love it. Now, right now, you guys are going through a phrase that I've heard, shared resources among multiple churches, and you guys are kind of reconnecting. What's going on up at CTK with that?
Dave Browning has been leading kind of what we call the Skagit County churches, which is one county to the south of where we are up in the Bellingham area. And Dave and I have been on a bit of a crusade this last little bit to bring the stories back together again, which is we think we can leverage people. We may be able to go faster alone, but we can go further together. And so there are things, whether it's one campus's teaching gift or a worship gift from here, or a graphic arts gift that we have at a larger campus that we can bless a smaller church with because they just simply can't get there yet.
Yeah.
And so right now, identifying what those great resources are, finding out what we can replicate very, very quickly, and the fact that we don't want to have ownership on anything, but that everything that comes in our hand is just a pass through and we just give it on to the next group. However we can bless, whether it's a mega church in the group or a micro church in the group, more than willing to share. I think you could find that in Scripture in a couple of places.
Yeah, a few. I love it. Now, you're a runner.
Yes, sort of. I'm more of a plotter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at times you have done marathons.
I have, I've run the Vegas Marathon.
Cool. Now, I myself don't know anything about marathon culture, fashion, etiquette. Can you get me abreast on those?
Wow. Yeah, I could. I mean, the bicycle shorts are wrong in any way, shape, or form. Males in spandex should never go together. Anything that would put a guy in the same category where you would look like a boiled egg with a rubber band around it is just absolutely wrong. And so I would encourage all the male runners out there to go loose fitting and yeah, let's just leave it there.
Wow. Well, that's good advice, but you've deflated my dreams just now, because if I was ever going to get in, I would be looking for, is there colors too to be avoided, or?
I'm not necessarily, don't really know about colors. I actually run with a very good pastor friend of mine. We ran the Vegas deal and then actually preached a message together called Pastors on the Run in Sin City. All I really remember is he was wearing white, I was wearing black, good and evil, together, but separate.
Wow. That's amazing. Is it possible to still get a hold of that message? Or?
Actually, if you Google Grant Fishbook, Bob Marvel, Christ the King, Cornwall Church, I think it'll actually still show up in the archives. And I had a good mullet even back then.
Wow, I love it. Mullets are coming. Mullets are back. They're not coming back.
I believe they are.
So.
They never left.
That's true. Lastly, if people want to get connected with what's going on at CTK, they want more info, where do they go?
You can go to our website, ctkbellingham.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter. Not me personally, the church is. And you can find us if you Google up Christ the King Community Church Bellingham. We'll pop up in the corner somewhere.
Love it. Thank you so much, Grant.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Think International. Thinking now for tomorrow.